Hi, Toby here. So this is lesson 8 for beginners for SketchUp with Shoot. Right, so here is the drawing that we've got to so far. I've modified it slightly. So this area here, which was bed 1, you'll now see is called paving, because I thought we'd have some paving in front of the house. The rest is still the lawn, and we've got this bed, and we've got the curvy bed, and this I've added, which is going to be the base for a shed that we're going to bring in from the 3D warehouse. So let's add some color to this drawing. So this is what we do by applying materials, and that is the paint bucket tool over here, or letter B for bucket. And I'm just going to pick the letter B. So I can choose from this drop down and say I want to use ground. And in ground, we've got a few things. We've got something that looks like grass, which we'll use for our lawn. And we've got this one that looks like soil. And this, whatever appears in this box, is the material that the bucket will apply. So now we'll go to this bed, and I'll show you the other way, which is rather than applying the material to the whole group, we go double click into the group, select the surface, and apply a material to that surface. And we're going to do the same thing for the inside of the trough. I'm going to put something on there. So I double clicked on the trough and then selected just that surface. Now the trough is going to be wood. So we're going to go here and choose a material of wood. And let's go with this wood here. And again, double click into the trough. And we're going to have to do a few surfaces here. We're going to have to do that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and the top and the inner edge there. Right, actually, we've got some more inner edges. Should have done this before, but there we go. It's good, all good practice for rotating around and applying. Okay, so that's our trough done. Now we've got a few more areas to do. We've got the lawn. Well, we know what we were going to do with the lawn, so we'll double click on that, get the surface, and the material we want to apply is in the ground section, and it's this lawny looking thing. There are better materials available, but I'm just going with the standard ones in SketchUp. And here we're going to put some paving. So let's choose what have we got? I think it's under tile. This dark colors tile. I'll put that on there. You'll see that that looks like that. And we're going to do the same thing for this plinth over here. So there we've got all of our garden nicely colored. So a couple of things we've got to do. I've actually already drawn a house over here, which I'm going to move into position rather than going through drawing a house here. But if I were to draw a house, it would be a question of here drawing a rectangle of the right size and then offsetting that to create walls, and then we'd pull up the walls to a specific height, and then we would draw on the apertures. So I would draw on a front door, and we would then push that through to the back there, and then we'd do the windows in the same way. And when we've done all of that, I would go to the 3D warehouse and find a suitable door and windows and insert them into those holes. So instead of doing all of that, I want to do the roof, just as in case this is something which interests you. We would do a line up and a line going across like that, and a line going across to this corner. Take out the middle bit, and then you'd push pull. So do that, which went in the wrong place, and we'll just push pull this across the house. So that's a quick way of drawing a roof if you're doing something quick like this, and you can get a house super quickly. I just want to deselect that and just delete everything there. Now, so I'm just going to move my house, and just recapping on how the move tool works. You press M for move. So first of all, you select an object. So we select the house, press M for move, and then you click carefully on the point that you want to move, just once, and now the mouse is hanging onto that, and I can zoom in and out, and I'll zoom into this corner here and click very precisely on that corner, and I have a house. So I talked about the 3D warehouse, that I brought these windows in from the 3D warehouse. And we're going to bring a shed in from the 3D warehouse now. We've already drawn something in 3D, but let's go to the 3D warehouse, which is down here on the tool palette. And when I click on that, there are a whole load of things that are ready-made that we can use. So we want a garden shed. So I'll search for garden shed, and it will come up with a whole load of garden sheds. I'm going to go with this little one over here, and you can select it. You get a little preview of it, and when you're happy with it, you say download, load it directly into your SketchUp model, yes, and suddenly here's a garden shed. I'll just plonk it roughly there, and then I'm going to use my move tool again, M, select that very bottom corner of the shed, which is there, and move that onto the base that I'd built. Okay, so there we've got our garden shed in place. Cool. So that's really our garden now ready for planting. And the next video will be, guess what, planting. Actually, no, I'm going to do one more thing, scenes. So we've already looked at views up here, so I can get a top-down view onto my garden. I can get a 3D view, and I can also get sideways views by clicking on these buttons. But very often in SketchUp, we want to remember the exact position of a particular view, and this is what will be sent to Layout, which is the printing program that comes with SketchUp. So let's say that that is the view that I want. So what I can do now is I can create a scene, and you'll see there's this little plus sign up here. Along here is where you will see all the scenes that you create. So I'm going to create a plus sign now, and whatever's on the screen right now will become my scene. When you get this pop-up, scenes remember the current style. So if you've changed anything style-wise, just save it as a new style for now. You don't need to worry about updating styles, just create it as a new style. Okay, so we'll create this scene, and you can right-click on a scene, a bit like when we're naming groups, and rename. And I'll call this one top down. Okay. And then I'm going to go into a 3D view that I like this. And I'm going to create another scene and call this one, rename 3D2 house, enter, and let's have one looking away from the house, and we'll create another scene here, and we'll call it, rename it to 3D away from house. Okay, so those are my three views. Now when I click on them, look what happens. The SketchUp very coolly goes to these different views, and from any of these I can play around with the model. I can go to my top-down view, and from my top-down view I can play around with the model. It's just a way of looking at the model. Okay, it's a view onto the model, and that's what a scene is. It also remembers what's visible and what's not visible. So if I use these little eyeballs in my outliner, I can hide things. So I could hide house. But when I go to my top-down scene again, the house will reappear. Unless I hide the house and update the scene. Now I can go to 3D to house, and I can go to top down, and top down has the house hidden. It remembers what's visible and what's not visible. So that can be very useful. So if I didn't want the garden shed to appear, I could hide the garden shed, which we imported over there. So I can just see the base. I can also hide my trough if I want to, and update my scene. And now I can go with this view, and I can go back to this view, and those things are hidden. Okay, I'm going to put them back on, and remember, update the scene. Okay, so now we've got our garden with 3 scenes, and it's ready for planting, which we'll do in the next video.